In the annals of unexplained phenomena, certain tales rise from the mire of obscurity, gripping our collective imagination with a potent blend of terror and intrigue. These are the stories whispered around campfires, passed down through generations, their chilling details sending shivers down our spines and leaving us questioning the very nature of reality. Such is the legend of the Mothman, a creature born from darkness, its name synonymous with tragedy, its presence a harbinger of chaos and despair. Our journey into the heart of this chilling mystery takes us to the United States, to the once peaceful town of Point Pleasant, nestled amidst the rolling hills of West Virginia. It was here in the autumn of 1966 that whispers of a winged anomaly began to circulate, transforming this sleepy community into a crucible of fear. The creature, a grotesque parody of man and beast, became a nocturnal spectre, its crimson eyes piercing the veil of darkness, its presence forever etched into the fabric of Point Pleasant's history. The Mothman, as it came to be known, defied easy categorization. Witnesses described a towering figure, its humanoid frame cloaked in darkness, a pair of enormous wings resembling those of a moth unfurling from its back. Its most terrifying feature, however, was its eyes, two glowing orbs of crimson that seemed to burn with an infernal light, capable of instilling primal fear in even the bravest of souls. As reports of sightings multiplied, a palpable sense of dread descended upon Point Pleasant, a creeping terror that seeped into the very marrow of the town. The legend of the Mothman, however, is not merely a local ghost story, a campfire tale spun to ward off the darkness. It is a saga intertwined with a real-life tragedy, a disaster that would forever cement the creature's place in the annals of American folklore. The Silver Bridge collapse, a catastrophic event that claimed the lives of 46 souls, became inextricably linked to the Mothman, transforming it from a local curiosity into a national phenomenon, a symbol of impending doom. Nestled along the banks of the Ohio River, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, exuded an air of tranquility. A small town where life unfolded at a leisurely pace, its inhabitants bound by the warmth of community and the rhythm of the seasons. However, beneath the veneer of normalcy, a current of unease began to ripple through the town. Whispers of strange encounters and unsettling sightings spreading like wildfire. The epicenter of this burgeoning fear was a desolate expanse of land known as the TNT area, a former World War II munitions plant shrouded in an eerie silence. It was within the confines of this forsaken wasteland, amidst the crumbling bunkers and overgrown foliage, that the legend of the Mothman first took flight. On a crisp November evening in 1966, two young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Millette, were driving through the TNT area when their headlights illuminated a sight that would forever alter their lives. A tall, winged figure, its eyes blazing like fiery embers, emerged from the shadows, its presence defying rational explanation. Panic seized the occupants of the car as the creature, seemingly startled by their sudden appearance, spread its massive wings and took flight, its silhouette briefly eclipsing the moon. The terrified couples, their hearts pounding in unison, sped away from the scene, the creature's glowing eyes seemingly pursuing them through the darkness. Their harrowing encounter, initially dismissed as a prank or a figment of their imaginations, marked the beginning of a wave of sightings that would grip Point Pleasant in a vice of fear. As days turned into weeks, more and more residents came forward with their own chilling accounts of the Mothman. It was sighted lurking in the shadows of the TNT area, perched atop buildings, its eyes burning with an unnerving intensity. Fear, once a whisper, now echoed through the streets of Point Pleasant, transforming the town's collective psyche. The creature, once a local legend, was rapidly becoming a national phenomenon. Its story splashed across newspapers, its name whispered in hushed tones across the country. Eyewitness accounts of the Mothman, though varied in their specifics, painted a chillingly consistent picture of this enigmatic entity. Witnesses described a creature of imposing stature, its humanoid form reaching heights of 6 to 7 feet, its limbs long and slender, its movements swift and unsettlingly fluid. Its most distinguishing feature, however, remained its eyes. Glowing orbs of crimson, they seemed to pierce the veil of darkness, radiating an aura of malice and intelligence that chilled onlookers to the bone. Some witnesses claim to have seen the creature's face, describing it as vaguely human in form, yet distorted, almost grotesque. Others spoke of a chilling absence of discernible features, as if the creature's face were a blank canvas upon which their deepest fears were projected. The creature's wings, often described as resembling those of a massive moth, were equally unsettling. Spanning upwards of 10 feet, they seemed to defy the laws of physics, enabling the creature to effortlessly glide through the air, its movements silent and predatory. Adding to the creature's mystique was its apparent ability to vanish into thin air. Witnesses often reported seeing the Mothman suddenly disappear, as if melting into the shadows, leaving behind only an eerie silence and the lingering scent of sulfur. This uncanny ability, coupled with the creature's nocturnal habits and its association with the abandoned TNT area, fueled speculation that the Mothman was something more than a mere animal, something perhaps otherworldly in origin. As the sightings continued, a sense of dread settled over Point Pleasant. The creature's presence, once a source of morbid curiosity, began to feel increasingly ominous, its appearance often coinciding with reports of strange occurrences, unexplained noises, electronic disturbances and unsettling dreams. The townsfolk, once dismissive of the creature's existence, now looked to the skies with trepidation, their minds haunted by the possibility that the Mothman was not merely observing them, but was, in fact, a harbinger of something far more sinister. The year 1966 dawned like any other in Point Pleasant, a tapestry woven from the routines of daily life. The murmur of conversation at the local diner, the clatter of machinery at the factory down the road, the laughter of children playing in the fading light of day. However, as the leaves began to turn and a chill settled in the air, an undercurrent of unease crept into the town's rhythm, a discordant note in the symphony of everyday existence. Whispers of the winged anomaly, initially confined to hushed conversations in dimly lit bars and hurried exchanges on front porches, began to seep into the collective consciousness of Point Pleasant. The sightings, once sporadic and shrouded in ambiguity, became more frequent, the details more vivid, the terror they instilled more palpable. The creature, once a fleeting shadow glimpsed at the edge of vision, was now being described with alarming clarity. Its towering height, its crimson eyes burning with an unholy light, its enormous wings like those of a moth drawn to a flickering flame. Fear, once a nebulous entity lurking at the periphery of the town's psyche, began to take on a more concrete form, casting a long, dark shadow over Point Pleasant. The local newspaper, the Point Pleasant Register, initially dismissive of the sightings, now found itself inundated with calls from terrified residents, each claiming to have encountered the creature. The stories, though varied in their specifics, shared a common thread, a profound sense of dread, a feeling of being watched, of being hunted by something ancient and malevolent. The newspaper, once a chronicle of mundane happenings, now became a repository of the town's collective nightmare, its headlines screaming of winged terrors and red-eyed demons. As the weeks turned into months, the sightings continued unabated, the creature's presence becoming an inescapable part of Point Pleasant's narrative. The town, once a sanctuary of peace and tranquility, now found itself held captive to a growing sense of paranoia and fear. The Mothman, once a figment of imagination, had become all too real, its presence a constant reminder that beneath the veneer of normalcy lurked a darkness that defied explanation, a darkness that threatened to consume the town whole. Section 2. The Scarberry and Mallette Encounter. The night of November 15th, 1966, dawned cold and clear in Point Pleasant, a full moon casting an eerie glow over the town and the surrounding countryside. It was a night like many others, the air thick with the scent of wood smoke and damp earth, the silence broken only by the distant barking of dogs and the occasional hoot of an owl. For two young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mallette, it was an evening for revelry. A night to escape the confines of their small town and embrace the freedom of youth. Their destination, the abandoned West Virginia Ordnance Works, a sprawling complex of dilapidated buildings and overgrown vegetation known locally as the TNT area. This desolate expanse of land, a relic of World War II, held a strange allure for the town's youth, its crumbling structures and eerie silence providing a backdrop for late-night adventures and illicit gatherings. Little did the four friends know that their carefree outing was about to take a terrifying turn, one that would forever etch their names into the annals of the Mothman legend.
As the couples drove deeper into the heart of the TNT area, the jovial mood inside the car began to dissipate, replaced by an uneasy silence. The headlights illuminated the crumbling facades of abandoned buildings, their windows like vacant eyes staring back at the intruders. The air grew heavy, thick with an oppressive silence that seemed to press down on them like a physical weight. It was then, as they rounded a bend in the deserted road, that they saw it. A towering figure silhouetted against the backdrop of the moonlit sky. The creature stood motionless in the middle of the road, its enormous wings resembling those of a gigantic moth folded behind its back. Its eyes, two glowing orbs of crimson, seemed to burn with an infernal light, piercing the darkness with an intensity that sent chills down their spines. Panic seized the occupants of the car. Linda Scarberry, her voice trembling with fear, screamed for Roger to drive to get them away from that thing. Roger, his heart pounding in his chest, slammed his foot down on the accelerator, the car lurching forward, its tires spitting gravel as they fled the scene.
Section 3. Whispers turn to screams. The Scarberry and Mallette sighting, once relayed to the authorities and subsequently leaked to the local press, sent shockwaves through Point Pleasant. What had once been whispered in hushed tones, dismissed as the product of overactive imaginations or too much moonshine, was now front-page news, the talk of the town. The creature, once a fleeting shadow glimpsed at the edge of vision, had now been seen up close, its horrifying visage forever seared into the minds of four terrified witnesses. The Point Pleasant Register, initially skeptical of the Mothman reports, now found itself bombarded with phone calls from residents claiming to have encountered the creature. The stories, once hesitant and fragmented, now poured forth with alarming clarity and consistency. Farmers spoke of seeing the creature perched on barn roofs, its glowing eyes watching their every move. Night shift workers reported seeing it gliding silently through the darkened streets, its massive wings casting fleeting shadows on the pavement below. The sightings were no longer confined to the desolate outskirts of town, to the shadows of the TNT area. The Mothman, it seemed, had become emboldened, its appearances more brazen, its presence felt in the very heart of Point Pleasant. Fear, once a whisper in the night, now echoed through the streets, seeping into the homes and businesses, worming its way into the hearts and minds of the townsfolk. The once peaceful community of Point Pleasant was rapidly transforming into a crucible of fear. Parents kept their children indoors after dark, their imaginations running wild with tales of the winged monster. Church attendance soared, the pews filled with the faithful seeking solace and protection from the unknown. The Mothman, once a local curiosity, had become a tangible threat. Its presence a constant reminder that the familiar and the mundane could be shattered in an instant, replaced by a darkness that defied explanation, a darkness that threatened to consume them all. Section 4. The TNT area, breeding ground for terror. As reports of the Mothman sightings reached fever pitch, attention inevitably turned to the creature's apparent lair, the abandoned West Virginia Ordnance Works, a sprawling expanse of dilapidated buildings and overgrown vegetation known locally as the TNT area. This desolate wasteland, a relic of a bygone era, held a strange allure for the townsfolk, its crumbling structures and eerie silence whispering tales of forgotten tragedies and lurking shadows. The TNT area, established in 1942 as a top-secret facility for the production of explosives, had long been a source of both fascination and trepidation for the residents of Point Pleasant. During the war, the plant had employed thousands, its bustling activity a vital cog in the nation's war machine. However, with the cessation of hostilities, the plant fell silent, its massive structures abandoned, its once pristine grounds reclaimed by nature. Over the years, the TNT area had become a magnet for teenagers, thrill-seekers, and those seeking a momentary escape from the mundane. Tales of strange lights, unexplained noises, and ghostly apparitions circulated among the town's youth, adding to the site's mystique. However, with the advent of the Mothman sightings, the TNT area took on a more sinister aspect, its crumbling buildings and overgrown pathways now seen as potential hiding places for the creature, its very air thick with an unspoken menace. The abandoned power plant, its massive cooling towers looming over the landscape like skeletal sentinels, became a focal point for both curiosity seekers and those who claimed to have encountered the creature. The network of underground tunnels, once used to transport materials and personnel, were now whispered to be the creature's lair, a subterranean labyrinth from which it emerged to terrorize the town. The TNT area, once a symbol of wartime industry and sacrifice, had become a breeding ground for terror, its very name synonymous with the creature that now haunted Point Pleasant. As 1966 drew to a close, a palpable sense of unease settled over Point Pleasant, a chilling premonition that the worst was yet to come. The Mothman sightings, once a source of morbid fascination, now filled the townsfolk with a primal dread, their once peaceful lives overshadowed by the spectre of impending doom. The creature, it seemed, had become an unwelcome fixture in their midst, its presence a constant reminder that the veil between the known and the unknown was terrifyingly thin. December arrived, cloaked in a shroud of icy rain and biting winds, a stark contrast to the vibrant hues of autumn that had painted the hills just weeks earlier. The festive cheer that typically marked the holiday season was noticeably absent in Point Pleasant that year, replaced by a somber anticipation, a collective holding of breath as if the town itself was bracing for impact. The legend of the Mothman, once whispered in hushed tones, now dominated every conversation, every shared glance, every troubled dream. The sightings continued unabated, the creature's crimson eyes burning with an unnerving intensity in the darkness. Some witnesses claim to have seen the Mothman perched atop the Silver Bridge, its massive wings outstretched as if embracing the icy expanse of the Ohio River below. Others reported seeing it lurking near the town's power plant, its silhouette a dark omen against the backdrop of the churning river. Each sighting, no matter how fleeting, served to heighten the sense of dread that had enveloped Point Pleasant. The local newspaper, the Point Pleasant Register, found itself caught between its duty to report the facts and the growing fear that its coverage was fueling a mass hysteria. The editor, a pragmatic man named Frank Thayer, grappled with the responsibility of balancing journalistic integrity with the very real concerns of his community. Was he merely chronicling a series of strange occurrences, or was he inadvertently fanning the flames of a fire that threatened to consume them all? The Silver Bridge, a gleaming ribbon of steel and concrete spanning the Ohio River, stood as a symbol of progress and connectivity, linking the bustling town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to the rolling hills of Gallipolis, Ohio. Constructed in 1928, the bridge was a marvel of engineering, its distinctive silver paint a source of local pride. Each day, hundreds of cars and trucks traversed its length, carrying workers, families and dreamers across the mighty river, their lives intertwined with the fate of this steel sentinel. However, beneath the bridge's imposing facade, a silent threat lay dormant, a fatal flaw hidden within its very structure. The bridge, it would later be discovered, was a ticking time bomb. Its eye-bar chain suspension system, a design considered outdated even at the time of construction, slowly succumbing to the relentless forces of stress and corrosion. Each passing car, each gust of wind, each degree of temperature fluctuation brought the bridge closer to its breaking point, a catastrophic failure waiting to happen. As December progressed, the Mothman sightings seemed to intensify around the Silver Bridge, the creature's presence casting a long, dark shadow over the structure. Witnesses reported seeing the creature perched atop the bridge's towers, its glowing eyes fixed on the traffic below, as if anticipating some terrible event. One particularly chilling account came from a local bridge worker who claimed to have seen the Mothman's reflection in the river, its crimson eyes staring back at him from the depths. Whether by coincidence or some inexplicable connection, the Mothman's presence seemed inextricably linked to the bridge, its appearances a harbinger of the disaster that was to come. The townsfolk, their nerves already frayed by weeks of unsettling sightings, began to avoid the bridge, opting for longer, more circuitous routes. Their fear of the creature surpassed only by their growing unease about the bridge's structural integrity. The Silver Bridge, once a symbol of progress and connection, was rapidly becoming a bridge to nowhere, a steel and concrete conduit to their darkest fears. The days leading up to the tragedy were thick with a palpable sense of dread, an oppressive weight that settled over Point Pleasant like a shroud. The Mothman sightings continued, each more unsettling than the last, the creature's presence seemingly woven into the very fabric of the town's collective nightmare. The air crackled with an unspoken tension, a shared premonition that something terrible was about to occur. Strange occurrences, once dismissed as mere coincidence, now seemed imbued with a sinister significance. Unexplained phone calls, their silence broken only by the sound of static and heavy breathing, plagued the town's switchboard. Animals, particularly birds, exhibited erratic behavior. Their frantic movements and distressed calls a cause for concern among the townsfolk. Even the weather seemed to reflect the town's unease, the skies perpetually overcast, the air heavy with the threat of snow. Whispers of foreboding spread like wildfire through the community. Some residents, their faith shaken, spoke of curses and omens, their voices trembling with a fear that bordered on hysteria. Others, clinging to a semblance of rationality, attributed the strange occurrences to stress and mass suggestion, the power of the Mothman legend fueling their collective paranoia. Amidst the growing unease, a sense of helplessness prevailed. The authorities, their resources stretched thin by the relentless stream of Mothman reports, seemed powerless to offer any real reassurance. The creature, it seemed, defied capture, its motives as inscrutable as its origins. The townsfolk of Point Pleasant, caught in the grip of a mystery that defied explanation, were left to face their fears alone, their fate hanging precariously in the balance. December 15th, 1967. A date etched in the annals of Point Pleasant's history. A day forever scarred by tragedy and forever entwined with the legend of the Mothman. It was a Friday, the eve of the Christmas rush and the Silver Bridge, its steel bones groaning under the weight of holiday traffic, stood as a silent sentinel against the backdrop of a leaden sky. The air was thick with the promise of snow, a light dusting already coating the bridge's surface, transforming it into a treacherous, shimmering ribbon. At precisely 5:04 p.m, as the last rays of daylight faded, casting long, eerie shadows across the Ohio River, the unthinkable happened. With a deafening roar that reverberated through the valley, the Silver Bridge, its flawed eye-bar chain suspension system finally succumbing to decades of stress and corrosion, snapped. The bridge, once a symbol of progress and connection, buckled and twisted, sending cars, trucks, and their unsuspecting occupants plunging into the icy depths below. The scene that unfolded in the aftermath of the collapse was one of unimaginable chaos and despair. Twisted metal, shattered glass, and the desperate cries of survivors filled the air, their voices competing with the wail of sirens as emergency responders raced to the scene. The icy waters of the Ohio River, once a source of life and recreation, now held the mangled remains of vehicles and the lifeless bodies of those who had been swallowed by the river's unforgiving embrace.
In the end, 46 souls perished in the Silver Bridge collapse, their lives tragically cut short, their families forever scarred by the events of that fateful December day. The town of Point Pleasant, once a beacon of hope and community, was left reeling, its spirit broken, its sense of security shattered. The disaster, the deadliest bridge collapse in American history at the time, sent shockwaves across the nation, its tragic consequences a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the unforgiving nature of fate.
In the wake of the Silver Bridge tragedy, a profound sense of grief and disbelief settled over Point Pleasant, a heavy cloak of sorrow that seemed to permeate every corner of the once vibrant town. The loss of 46 lives, many of them familiar faces, pillars of the community, sent shockwaves through the hearts of every resident, leaving them grappling with the enormity of the disaster and the question that echoed through the wreckage. Why? As the town mourned its dead and rescue workers continued the grim task of recovering bodies from the icy depths of the Ohio River, whispers of the Mothman resurfaced, their tone shifting from fear to accusation. The creature, once a source of morbid fascination, now became a scapegoat for the tragedy, its presence in the months leading up to the collapse interpreted as a chilling omen, a harbinger of doom that had been tragically ignored. Stories circulated of those who claimed to have seen the Mothman in the moments before the bridge collapsed, its glowing eyes fixed on the doomed structure, as if bearing witness to the impending tragedy. Others whispered of eerie silence falling over the town just before the disaster, as if the creature itself had paused, holding its breath in anticipation of the catastrophic event about to unfold. The legend of the Mothman, forever intertwined with the tragedy of the Silver Bridge, took on a new, darker dimension. It became a cautionary tale, a reminder that some events defy explanation, that some warnings, however improbable their source, should not be ignored. The creature, once a local phenomenon, had become a national symbol of disaster, its name forever etched in the annals of American folklore. A chilling reminder that even in the most ordinary of places, darkness can lurk, waiting for the opportune moment to reveal itself. Decades have passed since the Silver Bridge tragedy cast its long shadow over Point Pleasant, yet the town's connection to the enigmatic Mothman remains as strong as ever. What could have been a chilling footnote in the annals of local history has instead become an enduring legacy, a tale woven into the very fabric of Point Pleasant's identity. The creature, once a harbinger of fear and despair, has undergone a curious transformation in the collective consciousness of the town, evolving from a terrifying omen to a symbol of resilience, a reminder of the human capacity to confront the unknown and emerge, however scarred, from the depths of tragedy.
Today, Point Pleasant embraces its association with the Mothman, not with fear or trepidation, but with a sense of pride, a recognition of the creature's enduring hold on the public imagination. The town, once defined by the tragedy of the Silver Bridge collapse, has reclaimed its narrative, transforming the legend of the Mothman into a unique form of cultural currency, a draw for tourists seeking a glimpse into the world of the paranormal and a source of local pride.
The annual Mothman Festival, held each September, draws thousands of visitors from around the world, eager to immerse themselves in the legend and experience the unique blend of history, folklore and eerie charm that Point Pleasant offers. The festival, a testament to the town's ability to find light in the darkness, features live music, guest speakers on the paranormal, hayrides through the infamous TNT area, and of course, countless opportunities to purchase Mothman-themed souvenirs. At the heart of the town stands a towering 12-foot-tall stainless steel statue of the Mothman, its glowing red eyes a beacon for believers and skeptics alike. This imposing yet oddly endearing monument, created by artist Bob Roach, serves as a constant reminder of the creature's enduring presence in the town's psyche, a testament to the power of legend to transcend time and tragedy. The Mothman, once a harbinger of fear, has become a symbol of Point Pleasant's resilience, its image emblazoned on T-shirts, coffee mugs and even the local fire truck, a testament to the town's ability to find humour and even a sense of kinship with the creature that once haunted their dreams. The Mothman's transformation from a terrifying creature of darkness to a cultural icon is a testament to the malleable nature of folklore and the human capacity to find meaning, even solace, in the face of the unknown. The creature's image, once relegated to grainy photographs and eyewitness sketches, has been reimagined and reinterpreted countless times over the years, appearing in books, films, television shows, and even video games. John Keel's 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies, remains the definitive account of the Point Pleasant sightings and the subsequent Silver Bridge collapse. Keel's book, a blend of investigative journalism, paranormal speculation, and personal reflection, introduced the Mothman legend to a wider audience, solidifying its place in the annals of American folklore. The 2002 film adaptation of Keel's book, starring Richard Gere, further cemented the Mothman's place in popular culture. introducing the creature to a new generation and sparking renewed interest in the legend. Beyond its presence in popular culture, the Mothman has also become a subject of serious study for paranormal investigators and cryptologists. Theories abound regarding the creature's origins and motives, ranging from extraterrestrial visitors to interdimensional beings to government experiments gone awry. Some researchers believe the Mothman to be a highly evolved form of owl, its size and nocturnal habits accounting for the unusual sightings. Others speculate that the creature is a manifestation of mass hysteria, a psychological phenomenon triggered by the stress and uncertainty of the time. Regardless of one's personal beliefs, the enduring fascination with the Mothman speaks to a deep human need to grapple with the unknown, to find meaning in the seemingly inexplicable. The creature, in all its enigmatic glory, has become a blank canvas upon which we project our fears, our hopes, and our endless fascination with the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of our understanding. While Point Pleasant has embraced the Mothman legend, the abandoned TNT area remains eerily silent, a stark reminder of past fears. The dilapidated buildings and overgrown vegetation whisper tales of the creature that once haunted its shadows. Despite time passing, the TNT area remains largely untouched, a testament to the enduring power of the Mothman legend. The buildings, scarred by vandalism and neglect, stand as silent sentinels, their windows like vacant eyes. The air, heavy with damp earth and decaying vegetation, carries a palpable sense of foreboding. For those brave enough to venture into the TNT area, the experience can be both unsettling and exhilarating. The silence, broken only by rustling leaves and occasional bird calls, amplifies every creak and groan of the aging structures. While the most intense Mothman sightings occurred around the Silver Bridge collapse, reports persist, fueling speculation that the entity remains a presence in our world. These modern encounters, though less terrifying, share a common thread, a sense of awe and unease. Some describe fleeting glimpses of a large winged figure with glowing red eyes, reminiscent of the creature that haunted Point Pleasant. Others report daytime sightings, the creature perched atop buildings, observing the world below with unnerving intensity. These sightings, often dismissed as misidentified birds or weather phenomena, keep the Mothman legend alive, fueling speculation and debate. Section 5. Whispers from the Depths of Time. The Mothman legend, intertwined with the Silver Bridge collapse, continues to captivate and terrify. Whether a harbinger of doom or a figment of imagination, the creature has earned its place in American folklore. Some believe the Mothman to be of ancient origin, rooted in Native American folklore. Others see it as a product of the industrial age, linked to environmental degradation and psychic unrest. The Mothman symbolizes the unknown, reminding us that ancient forces stir beneath our modern world. The creature's presence in our consciousness speaks to a deep-seated need to confront the darkness and find meaning in the shadows. Section 1. The Global Phenomenon. The Mothman's legend extends beyond West Virginia, with similar creatures reported globally, often linked to disasters. These sightings, shrouded in local folklore, paint a picture of a recurring phenomenon that defies explanation. From Chicago to Chernobyl, New York City to Pompeii, the Mothman, or something similar, has left its mark. These global sightings, often dismissed as local legends, take on new significance when viewed through the lens of the Mothman phenomenon. Section 2. Chernobyl's Winged Harbinger. In April 1986, the Chernobyl disaster released radioactive material, contaminating vast areas. In the aftermath, chilling accounts emerged from the exclusion zone, stories whispered among the liquidators. Witnesses described a large, dark figure with glowing red eyes seen in the days leading up to the explosion. Some felt an oppressive sense of dread, while others recounted telepathic warnings from the creature. One firefighter described seeing the creature perched atop a cooling tower, its eyes fixed on the inferno below. Convinced it was a harbinger of death, he fled the scene, his mind reeling from the implications. Section 3. Whispers from Ground Zero. On September 11, 2001, the Twin Towers crumbled, leaving a void in the hearts of millions. In the aftermath, strange sightings emerged from Ground Zero, shared by first responders and survivors. Witnesses described a large winged creature with piercing red eyes, seen in the days leading up to the attacks. One construction worker saw the creature perched atop the Twin Towers, its eyes fixed on the city below. Disturbed by its presence, he shared his story, but his warnings were met with skepticism. Section 4. The Universal Warning. The recurring theme of the Mothman appearing before disasters raises profound questions about reality and perception. Some researchers believe the Mothman is an interdimensional being, while others speculate it is a highly evolved animal. Regardless of origins, the creature's appearance challenges us to reconsider our place in the universe. The Mothman legend, once local, now has global significance, reminding us that some mysteries transcend time and culture. Section 1. The Unanswered Enigma. The Mothman legend defies easy categorization, its shadow stretching from a small town to our collective unconscious. Perhaps the true legacy of the Mothman lies in the questions it compels us to ask. What lies beyond our perception? Are we alone, or do other entities share this planet with us? As we face an uncertain future, the Mothman reminds us that some mysteries are best left unsolved. Whether a harbinger of doom or a guardian of the unknown, the Mothman will continue to haunt our dreams, a testament to the enduring power of the unexplained.